Hey, my name's James Tuckleson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, this channel is all about documenting my property investment journey. I'm an investor and I'm building my portfolio, but more interestingly, I'm building a portfolio for my two daughters. We've got Georgia, who's 21. We just completed one deal, just about to complete our second, and my little baby, Amelie. Now, you could join us on the journey, see the good, the bad, and the ugly of property investing very easily by taking that finger of power, spinning it round, smashing that subscribe button and hitting the bell notification. Go on, do it right now. Take you 2 seconds and you will get to find out how all of that goes. So do join us on that journey. Now, I want to talk to you today about, is the property boom finally over? Now, we have had a very, very difficult few years for everyone, right? You know what's happened in the last few years, obviously, with the pandemic. And it's been really, really strange because I remember when the pandemic first happened in March 2020, wasn't it? At that point, we all believed that very quickly house prices would drop, everybody would be unemployed. But what's actually happened is unemployment is at record lows, house prices are at record highs, and the market has just got out of control. Now, what's keeping that buoyed at the moment slightly is inflation as well. So everything's going up in price, including the value of your house. And so it just didn't really make sense to people why the price is going up when businesses are shut and we're in a lockdown. Well, what happened during the pandemic was the government just flooded the market with money. They gave businesses bounce back loans of up to £50,000. A lot of those businesses have never had that kind of money in their life. They put people on furlough, so they still got paid to be at home. They weren't spending on holidays. They weren't spending in bars, pubs, restaurants and clothes and going out. So they were actually better off being at home. So they saved significant amounts of money there. There was just a huge demand to get out of the cities and move to the rural areas where you could have more space. I've got properties in Hastings, which is by the sea, if you didn't know. And so Hastings saw one of the largest increases in prices. It was 2021, I believe, that it was 14% that those prices went up, which was insane, right? Absolutely insane. So it's really important that we look, why did the market rise? And it was all of those combined factors. Now, a lot of those things have gone. The furlough scheme's gone, the bounce back loans have been spent, but the prices continue to rise. So why is that? Well, one of the reasons is money is so cheap at the moment. So during the pandemic, the government reduced the interest rates to pretty much zero. So there was never ever been a time where you could borrow money that cheap. And so people aren't necessarily concerned about the cost of the property. What they're more likely to look at is how much is the monthly payment for that property. And the monthly payments for properties reduced significantly. That meant that people could afford a bigger property, and that meant that prices got bid up for the last 2 years. Now, will that continue? So right now we have very high inflation, which is around 10%. And so what that means is the government needs to bring that back down to their target, which is around 2%. One of the ways that they do that is by raising interest rates, right? And so that is what's happening at the moment. So every other month, you'll see the Bank of England will be meeting. They have their policy meeting, and they've been gradually edging up the interest rates. Now, at the moment, it hasn't crashed the market, but it has started to slow the market down for sure. And estate agents are notorious for bigging up the property market because, of course, they are. It's their job, right? Their job is to sell houses. And you're not going to buy a house if they tell you the market's going down because you're going to just sit there and wait. But estate agents are finally coming round to the fact that the market is slowing down. So they're being a bit more open and honest with their narrative, that they are getting less inquiries, that there are less transactions going through at the moment, which will reflect in data in the next few weeks or months from now. And the market has definitely cooled. So in the Southwest, the asking price, not the sale price, but the price that people are asking for, is 2% lower at the moment. And so that means that definitely people are going to be offering less. And so the actual sale price is surely likely to come down. Now, the Bank of England will continue to rise rates until inflation is under control. But today, the interest rates are still very low. The cost of borrowing is still very, very cheap. And so the market hasn't been impacted yet. But going forward, we definitely expect the market to cool down, and it could have some sort of correction. I'd love to know, what do you think on that? Because nobody knows for sure, right? There is no newspaper or analyst in the world that can say, look, this is what's going to happen. The market is going to crash, because we all thought in the pandemic, it made logical sense that the market would go down, and it didn't. It went up more than ever. And so logic doesn't always dictate what's going to happen here. But I think that the market is going to start to cool down. And I think maybe we will get a correction. Maybe we'll get some negative prices of 2%, 3% over the next few years, which is fine, right? So as a property investor, that's not a particularly big deal. Because if you're looking to buy your property and hold it, it doesn't really make a difference to your life. It's really only a problem when you want to sell it. And we don't have many mortgage products today that are like we had in the last crisis, which was the 2008 crash, where people had mortgages of 100%. When that happened, it meant people went into negative equity. So up north, people were buying houses for 50 grand and they were borrowing £50,000. The prices went down to 40. So if they sold those properties, they would have had to pay the bank back an extra 10 grand. They would have got the 40 for selling, plus they owed the bank £10,000 still, and they would have had to top that up out of their personal money, which means no one's going to want to do that. So if you're buying and holding, that's still very, very good. Now, if you're doing flips, which I see a lot of YouTubers that are doing flips, that would be scaring me a little bit more, because if the market does go down, which it could, then if you're in a flip, that means that you might struggle to sell it on the other side when you get that refurbishment done. And that could put you in a very, very difficult position and make it difficult to sell the property. And then you've got to keep the payments up on the mortgage or the bridging loan or however you've done that. That type of deal could get very, very tricky. Now, I'm an investor. I just buy property and I hold it. So is the market going to crash? Maybe. Right? Maybe. And remember, you can comment below to let me know your thoughts on that. So if it does crash, does it impact me? No, not really, because I'm not looking to sell. And I know at some point, those prices will start to come back. And normally within 1 or 2 years, they come back quite quickly. And then we go off on a bull run on the market again, and we do quite well with property again. Now, what's more worrying for me as a property investor is rising interest rates. So I really want the government to get this inflation under control. I hope they do it slowly, calmly and effectively, and they don't start jacking the rates up by 2% in a day, like in Margaret Thatcher's years, where we had some terrible interest rate rises that caused all sorts of problems. I really hope that they take a measured look at it, slowly increase that until we get that inflation under control, because when we do that, that's good for everybody, right? That is good for everybody. We want a stable, slow pace, like we want prices to go up slowly or to go down slowly. We want inflation to come down fairly quickly, but we also want to make sure that it doesn't rise anymore as well, which is very, very, very important. So is the market boom over? I don't know. I think it's over. I don't think we're going to see more than 10% increase for the next few years in property prices. I just don't think that's possible again. So I think that's definitely out of the equation. But I still think we could have some mild increases this year. Maybe we'll get 1, 2, 3% increases Analysts are predicting 7%. No one knows for sure. But what do you think? Do you think the market's overheated now? Do you think it's time to be more cautious on your investing? Do comment below. Do give me a quick like on this video, guys. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. We're just about to run a live event in London. We don't have dates yet. But we just want to know who's interested, who would be interested in coming to a live event to learn about property investing. So if you want to come to a free live event, do comment below saying, I will come to the live event, or I'm interested, just so we can get a rough idea on numbers, so we can start looking at a hotel and stuff like that. I'd love to see you and meet you, and not just meet you virtually through YouTube. We've also got a Facebook group, which is free of charge, which you can click on in the description below. I'm James Nicholson. Stay blessed. And do go and check out this video right here.